We begin with a decision from the nation's highest court clarifying who is eligible to run for the nation's highest office. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected efforts in Colorado to disqualify former President Donald Trump from the primary ballot. Voters in several states have argued Trump's actions on January 6, 2021 violated the so-called insurrection clause of the 14th Amendment. But the justices found that while states can block candidates for state office, only Congress has the power to disqualify candidates for federal office. Though Colorado courts had found former President Trump participated in an insurrection, the Supreme Court did not address that question. CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa reports.
A crucial decision today with sweeping political consequences. The High Court ruling that former President Donald Trump cannot be removed from Colorado's ballot due to the state court's view that he stoked the January 6 insurrection.
You cannot take somebody out of a race. The voters can take the person out of the race very quickly, but a court shouldn't be doing that.
With this ruling, 2 other states also had their efforts to remove the former president stall. 3 justices, in a separate concurring opinion, said allowing the Colorado measure to go forward would, we agree, create a chaotic state-by-state patchwork. Amid a tense political landscape, Justice Amy Coney Barrett also urged Americans to see unity from the unanimous decision. Writing, in this circumstance, writings on the court should turn the national temperature down, not up. Colorado's Democratic Secretary of State offered sharp criticism of the decision.
I do believe that states should be able, under our Constitution, to bar oath-breaking insurrectionists.
The ruling comes a day before Super Tuesday, the biggest primary election day of the season, when voters in 15 states, including Colorado, head to the polls. And Trump's legal hurdles continue to pile up as the Supreme Court weighs another decision next month.
I hope that the justices, because they'll be working on some other cases, but one in particular, presidents have to be given total immunity. They have to be allowed to do their job.
Later this month, Trump will also spend 6 weeks in court, where he is charged with falsifying business records related to hush money payments to a porn star. Today, Trump's former CFO, Alan Weisselberg, pled guilty to 2 counts of perjury in the New York civil fraud case, but he will not testify against his former boss.
And Robert Costa joins me now. Sorry, Bob, got something in my throat. As somebody who has studied the politics and history of January 6th and the attack on the Capitol so closely, use this moment, this ruling, give us a sense of where January 6th, that riot, now falls as an issue for Donald Trump and his party, or not an issue at all, and how you think it sits as a general election question.
It might be a so-called issue to some voters, and it might be seen that way inside of Trump's inner circle based on my conversations with his allies in recent weeks. At the same time, all of the January 6 issues remain collectively a cloud over Trump's campaign and his likely nomination for the Republican Party. Yes, he will be on Colorado's ballot. He will be on other states' ballots that have raised issues about his conduct and alleging that he was a leader, if not the one who directly stoked an insurrection. But even if he's on the ballot now, he's still possibly facing a federal trial on January 6th sometime this year, if it may even happen before the election. The Georgia case also hovers as a place where his conduct could be in the spotlight in and around January 6th. And you have the Biden administration being careful when it comes to January 6 issues because the Justice Department is leading the investigation. But the Biden campaign is putting all of this front and center. And you hear the president himself in interviews talking about the stakes here for American democracy, someone who has never conceded defeat, someone who worked to overturn an election, now looking to be the Republican standard bearer.
Bob, the former President Trump told you during the primary season that the courtroom was the campaign trail. Does that change if he does as well as he is expected to do in Super Tuesday and effectively it becomes the Trump-Biden race as everyone has expected? Does that continue to be the case in a general election context? And in terms of the tactics and day-to-day of the campaign, does it put more pressure on surrogates? There is no real surrogate for Donald Trump since he's a particular figure, but does it change the way a campaign works if you're spending so much time in the courtroom?
there are two moments to pay attention to on that front. One, starting later this month, he's going to have the hush money criminal trial in New York, and Trump is going to be forced to sit by law in court for 6 weeks. Now, Trump's campaign allies tell me he's going to use that whole political moment to rally his base around him and cast the legal system as somewhat aligned against him. But there will be another key moment in April when the Supreme Court weighs in on whether he's immune from prosecution. Trump has made that case again and again.
Bob Costa in Washington. Thank you so much, Bob.